Hello, storytelling Ryan. I'm going to talk about a Christian role playing game, and because I don't know of any others on YouTube, and there are 10,000 pagan role playing games where you play as a hero, fight, and get rewards. But there are not, and they're all based. A lot of it's based on history, right? Based on this world, or based on the genres that we love. But there's nothing out there about the real genre, the beginning of it all, the creation of it all, creation of incredible fiction, incredible stories, and that is the Christian storyline genre motif. And I'm not aware of any storylines in Christianity. I mean, please let me know in the comments where, and this is the essence of Christianity is evangelism and church planning. I'm not aware of any, even in pop culture, Christian pop entertainment. Like none of them are about evangelism or planting a church, setting up a church. I mean, not that I'm. I mean, there's some around churches and stuff, but it's never been about like actually doing what Christians do, which is we go around, we evangelize, we convert people, and then we set up churches in those areas to spread civilization, to spread a community center where people can go to seek justice and compassion and charity. That's how churches spread across Europe. And yes, they were hated because of that, because we also brought Jesus Christ, and paganism doesn't like Jesus Christ, and so paganism will slander and do everything they can to destroy and lie about church history, and also erase it. If they can just replace it and erase it and take over the charity, the compassion, they will. But the problem there is that they don't really know that it all will fall apart inevitably because it doesn't have the foundation of Jesus Christ in it. And not to say that a church can't fail, but the point is, statistically speaking, when you have that foundation of God and Christ in your belief and in your whatever it is you're doing, you're gonna stick with those very difficult commandments. Statistically much better than a pagan would. A pagan would is just going to eventually fall apart, whatever it is. But a church has a chance, and this chance has been shown throughout Europe in the Middle Ages, where it was spreading throughout the pagan by default world. A hope, a glimmer, a shining light in that area. So, and that's what I'm trying to do with this game here, is get us back to that mindset of being an evangelist, being a church person who we need to set up churches in areas where there's so much evil, and the churches need to be evangelists in their areas. I'm kind of, I'm going off on a little rant here, but I'm kind of concerned about the Bible Belt. I feel like as much as the Bible Belt or whatever is red state or whatever, but there's a ton of paganism and hedonism and perversity. I mean, I just saw an article about a guy in Kansas City who's gay, trans, or whatever just now, and he got arrested for 20 years because he was doing child porn on OnlyFans, and he's from Kansas City, I'm like, what kind of man? They're just coming out of it everywhere. And now he fled to Mexico, but they caught him, and I'm just like reading this, going, he was doing so much, perversity, sexual businesses. I'm just like, man, that's just an incredible amount of sin to have to live that world where you're so detail oriented in that perversity to make that much money in it. Anyway, oh boy, I think I need to focus here. Okay. Man, this was supposed to be family friendly. Okay. Let's go to Lugano here. Lugano is one of the towns that I've gotten this adventure, and the reason I started here is I wanted to let you know that there's evangelism here. The church is here, but it's failed. And there's a very sad story where the pagans are killing off basically the monks that come and try to help the church, and so the missionaries are now trying to figure out what's going on. And right next to the church are slave huts and the arenas. And in arenas, they're starting up the gladiator thing again. See, Christians came into Rome and actually made the gladiators illegal, or they ended it. No one ended that. No pagan ever ended gladiators. And gladiators is about the killing of each other, right? For entertainment, killing of each other for entertainment. And the vast majority of gladiators are slaves, or they're all slaves, and forced into it, or had no other choice but to go into it, or war prisoners. What a horrible. I mean, that was the norm. There, people are cheering on the death of others, killing. Christianity ended it. Okay, the church started happening in Rome, ended gladiators, and there's no credit there for Christianity that we did that. There's no credit for Christianity that we ended slavery, right? They keep blaming Christians for slavery. They completely, whenever you talk about pagan slavery, which is the entire world history is pagan slavery, they're like, no, Christians are bad, no. Whereas Christianity did slavery a little bit for under 300 years or so, around 300 years, and then they brutally stopped it with war, civil war. The Royal British Navy stopped it through war. I mean, at some point we said, you know what, this sucks. We Christianity actually ended slavery early on in the Dark Ages. This period, 7th, 8th, 9th century, it actually ended slavery in Europe, and then so they pushed the slavery out to the New World, but there was slavery everywhere, outside of the Christian Europe. And they never talk about that. They never want to talk about that. They just want to focus on that New World slavery that we did, which was bad. And initially, the Portuguese that started it, thought they were actually doing a good thing to help the Africans, because the Africans were in so much slavery and brutality. They thought they were bringing them into a better world, better conditions. And the Africans were so used to slavery and so subservient that they're like, oh, they must like doing this or whatever. That was kind of initially how it started, because Portugal started importing slaves that way, and they thought it was a good thing. Then it exploded into this huge, ridiculous thing and then a lot of pirates and others, started mass taking slavery, and it just became a greedy thing. And remember, the church was still trying to get into the New World, establish itself to end slavery in the New World, but because of the businesses and the pagans and the people in power, they needed that labor, that cheap labor, quickly. They needed to build it up fast because they saw all the riches that were there. All they want to do though is go after Jesus Christ. That's why they talk about white colonizers and slavery in the New World and slaves against blacks. They never talk about the black slave enslaving blacks, the Muslims enslaving everybody in the most horrific ways. Christians did do it. We did it for agriculture and the quick buildup of in the New World. That was the focus. It was focused on agriculture. It was not focused on gladiators, on harems, horrific sexualized. A person that's escaped North Korea today said that they enslave other North Korean girls into harems until they die. They last about 6 months. Okay? So that's paganism that we're completely ignoring. There's no one talking about that except a couple, her that escaped it. The what's going on. They don't talk about that. We ignore it. We're playing our role-playing games, our pagan role-playing games. We're erasing Christianity from role-playing, from history, from movies, from shows. I just watched a couple of vampire films just to watch something on, and they totally disregard the Christian cross and all that, which is fine. I get it. The vampires is not necessarily Christian, but Bram Stoker's Dracula was really who was a Christian. He made that story so gothic and cool and amazing, like above and beyond the typical vampire stories, right? He made it so amazing and interesting because of the Christianity he brought into it, and the cross and it really sort of a reconfirming of our Christian faith. And it had there was a good versus evil in it. Whereas these vampire movies I'm watching lately, they're like, the vampire is evil, but then maybe it's good. Who cares? Maybe they killed a bunch of people. Who cares? Let them, they get away with it. That's kind of the stories now. They're like, there's no actual good versus evil. There's no actual trying to stop the horrible evil that someone's doing is absolutely wrong. The vampire stories now are like, maybe what they're doing by eating and killing people is okay because that's just their point of view. That's what they're doing now. That life is sacrificial. You can sacrifice human life because maybe, that's just a good thing to do. And that's the stories we're having now. Wow, I'm really going off on a tangent here. It's been on my mind. I'm trying to avoid doing rants and stuff, but here I go. All right. So same with this town here. This town gives you an opportunity to do evangelism. All these people have their different sort of conversion level. Their CL is what I put here. So I tend to put some in, and if I don't put them in, then you can roll your own or decide for yourself, or you can change this one and if you want. I literally roll it and I follow that roll and put it in here. So it even challenges me to create something I wasn't expecting to create. Like she's potentially this witch who's a perfumist and makes healing ointments. She's doing white magic, but she knows of all the other witches and stuff that are in the area, the sort of conspiracies. You would need to convert her to really get her to help you and make her realize that, is she doing good or is she doing evil? Looks like she doesn't. I'm sorry, I'm looking at I didn't give her any magic points, so she's really just mixing this up in a very chemistry way, and not even using any kind of evil or evil pagan thing. So she's definitely potentially a good person to work with. I want to. Lugano is kind of like the biggest town in this area, so I kind of feel like I should build out more of the businesses, more details. I mean, it's all sort of listed here. I wonder if I should, it would need to be another 2-page spread though, because I like to do 2-page spreads as an actual user of this product. I want to have a 2-page spread for everything, so I have references really quickly, and I don't want to have a 1-page spread because then for each area, because then I have to flip the page. It doesn't feel right when I'm flipping the page. And if you're a GM, you know what I'm talking about. I like to do a 2-page spread for most of it, and it's okay if it's 4 pages. I don't like to do 3 pages though, because I don't want to split this between the other. But I don't know, we'll see. So I might have to bring up some of my blank pages I've been saving down at the bottom, because I only want to do 103 pages. That's what I said I was going to do. So I might move up some of these blank pages that I haven't used yet, which I was planning on using here, but I might want to squinch them up just to give Lugano a bigger, more sort of a town adventure potential of stuff in here, like stories and stuff that you could do. Because there's Monsango Inn is only a little bit here. I want to maybe add a little more. Let me make a note for that. Real quick. Sorry if I'm just doing this. Okay. And move 2 pages here. Make Lugano with more stuff. Okay, I kind of want to do that. So let me just make a big ugly note here like this, so I'll remind myself. Okay. But I want to go down. I want to show you guys. I'm really building out some fun Christian RPG adventures where we go into tombs and dungeons and crypts, because we need that. We need that nostalgia in our role playing game for sure. Christian RPGs. We've got a marsh here with some crazy stuff and beasts. I'm doing sort of the Skull Island type of genre, the Hyperborean Skull Island type of flow, because I want the creatures to be Earth based, connected somehow to Earth, and not orcs or too fantastical. I'm not against that necessarily, but then you have to have a world that is not biblically based, or you would have to create a simple Bible relationship with that type of a world, and you could get a little theologically off based on that. Though there could be a simple version of that you could do for sure. The relationalness of the Bible to whatever that setting is, because the Bible to me and Earth history are relational, right? Sorry, I've still got my little cold or residual. So I'm doing more primordial type creatures. These are the Huns, and then these are all giant crabs, the bloodworms, giant bloodworms, prehistoric kind of sense. Boar beast, like a bigger boar, and then the regular boars. I'm just, and I'm kind of building up sort of crazier and crazier, but again, being anchored in a real world sense. This giant cave worm might be pushing it a little, but that's okay. I think that's, something deep in the earth, giant fossilized cave worm, like giant centipedes and giant whatever. So I'm kind of doing like a giant cave worm in there. And this is a cool little cellar underneath this mountain fort, or like a small cellar there with some primordial cave beasts. I think that'll be fun. Exploration, and then this is a finale of this one campaign. Let's move on. I just want to get to this here, so it's still stuff I need to fill out. And I have role played this one. It was with a small group, and that was pretty fun. But what I want to do is show you me building out, after all my rants here and talk, building out this village into something a little more substantial, kind of like what I would do with Logano. But the village here, let me zoom in so you can see a little bit better. I mean, it's not that many buildings. It's okay. So it's on the border of the lake, like Lake Logano, and then these are all the villagers, or small little village that you can come into. It's open. It's literally a mission to see what's going on here, and then there is hidden up here a witch in her hut that they all kind of worship up on the hill, and then of course this is a worshiping area with a door, an ancient Roman door that goes down into the tombs. And this can go out to the bigger catacombs, which is part of the in the hills. I'm making up a big catacomb section, so it's like a dungeon crawl, where you could have fun doing a big dungeon crawl in there. And it's all like pagan tombs and catacombs that they used during the Roman period, where a bunch of the rich patricians and stuff would come in and build out these tombs in there. So I'm just saying that there's like this beehive of catacombs in the hills there that go deep down and through the mines, and so you can have a fun primordial creatures in there, and then a lot of pagan creepies in there. They're hiding away from the semi-church culture, Dark Ages culture now. But I want to build up this village. Like what's here? Who's here now? This is obviously not a town, it's a village. So I'm gonna roll out some stuff here just to show you how I'm doing it, and what I provide in the rule book for you. Let me zoom out because I'm going to make some notes. All right, I'll just do the notes right here so we can easily read this. Just to make some notes here, because I already role played this and already had a thing, but I'm gonna create it again, kind of recreate it using the rulebook pages here. Now the activity, I'm gonna start with the activities here. This is sort of the basic overall. I don't know why. I mean, I try to fit everything just so it's a 2-page spread. Availability. Yeah, small village here explains that what you would have as far as these items you can get in the village. Country mill, market plops, these are all fitting here. I wonder, activity nearby up to D12. So this is the one that I would start with. I wonder if I should put it like in an order, like left to right, but I don't know. I'd have to rearrange this stuff around a bit. Let me just. All right, for the fun of it, let me, and these are pick and choose what you want kind of a thing. So let me just roll here. I'm gonna roll a small village, which is like a D4, right? Village would be D4, so it's only gonna be the top 4. As far as like what is sort of the main drive of this village? What's the biggest business? 4. Smithing raw materials. Okay, that's along the lake. That's very strange, but let's go with it. I don't feel like they have a major country mill, market hall. They're just like, they don't have a tap. They're just buildings. So smithing raw materials. Oh, so it may have been that they used to do mining in the area, and they had, in the hills, and they did have some resources. So let me put that down here. Did I copy that? Oops. No, that's my die rank thing there. I'm working on to explain the game mechanics, but let me do that and do this. Okay, so smithing. So I'll definitely have some, 1 or 2 blacksmiths in there. They must still get stuff from mines around the area. I mean, it's got to be something. Or they come in, or they're imported, which is fine. There's no inn. I don't feel like there's going to be an inn here. Workshop row. Craft shop. Okay, I'm going to skip all this. Why? Because there's no... none of this is in this little village. You'll see why here in a sec. But I'm going to do a witch hut, which is this one down here on the bottom. Oh, here's a ramshackle, because I think there's a bunch of ramshackles too. So let me roll 1 ramshackle and 1 witch hut as being really kind of in that area, like really sort of officially a business, whereas others could just be 6. Serves a witch hut. Okay. Serves a witch hut. All right, let me do a witch hut. Oops. 1. Bone, trinket reader, tribal, creepier, shama. Okay. We have a ramshackle that serves. This is a big part of the village. There is a business here. And it could be the smithing person that, making idols or whatever. See, so that would make sense to me. So witch hut, and what did I roll? I rolled a 1. Bone, trinket reader, tribal, creepier, shamanic. Okay. So the ramshackle, which is, there's obviously plenty of ramshackles here. Ramshackle serves. Well, yeah, I just do that. I'm gonna take off the numberings. I don't need the numberings here. The witch hut is bone, trinket reader, tribal, creepier, shamanic. Okay, so instead of bone, I'm going to say whatever the smithing does is what this witch collects and uses. So instead of bone, I'm going to say iron, idol, reader. Reader or iron, idol, bless, curse. So she blesses or curses the iron idols for whatever purpose that the people want them for. So the smith builds it, they take it to her, she blesses, curses it, tells them a story about it, whatever, their idol, their thing, or tells them what to get from the smith. Okay, see, it's getting creepier. So when the missionaries come in, they're going to kind of learn about this, and people. So you have a thing to describe now. You have an activity to describe that builds out a world around for you and them, and that's kind of what you need to do. You need to have a focal point in a village that intrigues them to start their evangelism. Start what we Christians do. We go around and we destroy paganism, if only. So that's what evangelism is all about. Because right now, think about the real world today. I'm going to start ranting here. They're all creating their idols, their celebrities, their OnlyFans, their Instagrams, whatever. Their porn. They're worshiping it. And then they got people that go around and tell you which ones are good and bad and which ones are awesome and how you worship it. Kind of makes sense to me. All right. I want to do, there's a nicer farm here in the inland village. So like this area up here at the top is the nicer area. So I'm going to kind of like the leader of the area or whatever, the constable, or I don't know what they call him in Italy, Switzerland area. Okay, so let me roll what that person kind of runs generally in their place, and it's a D10. Alrighty, get the other tray here. 2. A farmer, ackerman, landowner, a villain, tenant. Okay, so yeah, this makes sense for the area. They all make sense actually. So this person is running, main farm, and is runs the which there's a stockade there and everything, so that's fine, that's easy enough. I'm gonna roll out their conversion levels, their attitudes, so don't worry, we're getting there. Okay, so that's the main area, and this one here is for a section of a village or town where you want them to go explore. You can build out the little area. And this is for each, for villages and then outskirts of villages. But I'm going to add a couple of these in there as a mix for the village. Country farmstead. So let me do one of these for the fun of it. Just this is meant to be this area over here. This little area over here. I think the smith and the witch hut is going to be here. Although I'm thinking I'm going to have this witch be the one that they go when the smith makes their idol. They will then take a journey up here, like in the ritual form, go to her, and she gives them the story about their idol and blesses it or whatever. And then they come and, set it up in their little homes or whatever. Okay. Totally makes sense. That's like a convention that we do today or whatever, Obviously for them it's even more religious. Today we pretend it's not religious, but we do kind of fixate on stuff a little too much, I think. Anyway, like I did. Like instead of studying church history or the Bible, I was studying Star Wars, Marvel, or Dungeons and Dragons stuff, and I was turning pagan. I was just like, my whole psyche was pagan. I didn't think of evangelism at all. I didn't think of doing something for the Lord. I just thought of doing Star Wars. I certainly enjoyed it. I certainly had fun with it, but I can't do it anymore. My channel used to be D&D and Star Wars and all that, and I used to do all those scores, which are still my most popular videos even today. And if I only stuck with that, I think I could have built up this huge thing. But I can't. I just, it sucks. I can't. I'm a slave to the Lord. I want to serve the Lord somehow, and I enjoy doing this, but I really enjoy doing stuff for the Lord, and this is what I know. So I'm kind of, that's why you don't see me doing any D&D stuff in there. But yet I still leave it on there just because, I do have good memories of it in that sense, but I wasn't serving the Lord, so just don't want to do it anymore. I just don't have it in me to. I mean, I'd love to just do that and get tons of whatever, but subscribers and all that, but I just can't do it. Okay. Anyway, let me do this one. The countryside 6. All right. So this guy, wheelwright, carpenter, coachman, porter for travelers, lumber, smithing, in space. Okay, so I'll do like a wheelwright. So that's fine. What is that? Northeast? Yeah, east area. A carpenter, wheelwright, business. Yeah. So makes sense. Okay. And I'm going to build out that a little more. I want to do this tribal village remote, don't I? Yeah. Because you never know what else could be in this area. That's a little more. This is sort of a hunters, fishermen, some farming, a smelly mess default for most. So yeah. This one, I should probably write down tribal village remote. Tribal. This is not the business, but what kind of character they are. So tribal character. So I'm just renaming that, and then let me roll a d10. So this is the creepy one. This is like, what else is they doing here? 10 slaves. Oh no, I have to figure this out. Okay. Slaves in operation, mining, farming, extensive operation. Reroll d8 for what kind, but in a bad way. Man. 6. Expulsion, oppressed, isolated. What the heck does that mean? Expulsion, oppressed, isolated. Okay, I know what that means, but does that... It took me a sec. Expulsion, oppressed, isolated. As in they're slaves. It's an operation. The slaves are oppressed and isolated. Like maybe they're stuck in the mines. It's not a big village. That's the thing. I'm trying to figure out a way to do this. Isolated. So they're isolated from the world. So they're that's a challenge right there. Let me see. The fishermen are all prisoners prisoner slaves from Germanic tribes, probably used for the fishermen are all the fishermen. So this is a smithing area. There's ore mines. the fishermen and miners. And miners are all prisoners from Germanic tribes, you know, or other villages in the area. Very oppressed. There's got to be a slave master, cruel slave master, because I rolled a 10 on that thing. That's tricky, man. Wow. I mean, it can only be a small group because, you know, of like, you know, a dozen. Or, you know, just a small group because, you know, this is a small village and you want a small encounter. I know I put some barbarians in there. I could have the barbarians be the ones that, cruel slave master, barbarian. Wow. Okay. I think that's the buildup here. We have a main farm. We have a carpenter wheelwright. Then we have fishermen and miners are all prisoner slaves from Germanic tribes or other villages in the area. Very oppressed. Cruel slave master barbarian. The main farm. Okay, so let's do the smither, the blacksmith. So the smithing raw materials is the main thing. How do they get the ore? There's got to be some mines in the area, right? Like mining operations or something. Or what are the raw materials? Smithing raw materials. So it doesn't necessarily mean I don't want to do. The reason I don't want to do mines here is because I already did a mine thing in some other area, and I want to do something a little more. And there's catacombs in this area already, so maybe instead of smithing, I could just do the lumber thing where they're, you know, they're chopping the wood. She does. They make. There's, you know, carpenter. There's. I you know, I think that's good enough. That way I don't have to create a whole nother bunch of mines because I've already done that. And they could focus on just this. Yeah, because it doesn't have to be smithing. It can be raw materials, which is lumber. Just out of curiosity, I'm wondering if I've differentiated that here when I rolled it. Yeah, there's mining, lumber, milling, smithing, raw materials. So they get the raw materials and then they do that work. Okay, so I'm just trying to think of something simpler than creating mines. Yeah, so there's no mines. So they must import it. They get it from somewhere. Like the other villages bring it in, which makes sense. Okay, I know what this guy can be the importer of ore. Yeah, I mean that's fine too. Because there are mines in the other areas and they can deliver it to this area. So they get from horned ones or whomever. And it's small operation. I'm trying to think what the fishermen and miners. Okay, so instead of miners, fishermen and I think just fishermen are all prisoners, slaves from Germanic tribes, very oppressed, cruel slave master, barbarian. That's their export. Fishing, export, if any, you know, fishing export, main diet. So there's that. Okay, I'm gonna say that this. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it smithing. Makes iron idols. Which hut? So let me. Hold on a sec. Okay. All right. I'm gonna roll out the blacksmith, smithing, ore. Let me. This guy's gonna do ore. Imported ore, and it's like literally one cart every season. Like, you know, so it's not that much. Or let me just write that, 1 cart a year. Okay, this smithing artisan, so let me roll his. So I decide, is it a D8 or is it a 2D8? Keep the lowest. I think I'm just gonna make a D8 because it's not necessarily that he's evil or good. He could be good. He's just doing what he does. You know, that's what he believes is the right thing. So this could be, and he could be very evil. Let's find out. D8. 7. Okay, he's a 7. So he's just making what he's told to make, but he thinks this is, yeah. Wow. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay, the witch hut. Now the witch is the one up here. I think I might have already written her out as being quite evil. She is evil. So I'm going to go ahead and do the 2d8s and pick the lowest because she's already there. 3. Okay. And the difference between a conversion level of 1, which is very violent evil, and 3 is she's going to be a little more manipulative. She's not going to just go directly to violence. She's going to want to try to control people, especially Christians that come in, through just warnings and scaring them off or whatever. But if resorts to evil if they have to, but or violence if they have to. But she's going to be a little more threatening than outright let's kill them. All right, the main farm guy. This one can be just a random D8. I'm going to roll with my little cool gray die here. 6, okay? This guy has a chance. Just does his thing. Everyone has their idols. That's fine. He's probably got his own in there too. Let's do the, he can be helpful if they convert him. The carpenter. Same thing, D8. 5, okay? CL5. Conversion level 5. And let me go with the slaves. The slaves themselves. Let me roll. I'm kind of curious. They're oppressed. They could be evil. They could be good. They could be slaves that were criminals. They could be slaves that were sad family. Let's find out. 6. Okay. All prisoners from Germanic tribes are Liberia. Okay. CL 6. So I'm going to work out what their mindset is, and obviously a 6 is pretty good for chance of converting them. The cruel slave master. Let's do 2d8, pick the lowest. Wow, I rolled a 6 as the lowest. Wow, I'm gonna put wow in there. So wow, so it's cruel, angry slave master, but he can be guilt-ridden into stopping doing this and freeing the slaves, or at least allowing them to go to church, or allowing them to slowly change, because back then there was so much slavery. They did not end slavery quickly. It took them a little while. Once they had to get the churches established first before they could end slavery across the Europe. Remember, slavery was prevalent, and there was a lot of slavery. I mean, up into the 12th, 13th, 14th century, it permeated in different ways in the economy. Before Christianity could really get it down and get equality and protections for women implemented, and especially in marriage. So this is how I do it. This is how I'm going to work out this storyline, these different things. I mean, the witch herself is the most evil thing here, and she only rolled a 3, so she has some bandits too with her, but I'll just keep them the same as her. But everyone else is ready for a church. Everyone else is like, you can potentially convert. So what we have an importing of ore, because I personally just don't want to put a bunch of mines. There are mines there, but I don't want to. I want it to be focused on the catacombs with them, like extinct mines. I don't want it to be active mines. So they just get their ore from across the lake, which is very close. So that makes total sense. The artisan, there's an artisan there making idols. Serves the witch hut. Makes idols for locals. Idols and trinkets, yeah. And trinkets for locals. Now, if he's converted, obviously he'll make stuff for the church. So then the witch hut is iron, idol, bless, curse, cribal, creepier, shamanic, whatever. So that's what I rolled for the witch hut, and that's the one up here, and it leads to the and leads to catacombs. So there's a couple of like secret entrances to the catacombs that are known by the pagans, and there's even pilgrimages by the pagans to the catacombs up on the top of the hill, kind of a thing. So there's that. The main farm is the Ackerman, landowner or villain, tenant, farmer, barn, stock, storage. So yeah, he's just a big, just got animals and and does that. And conversion level 6. The carpenter is just next to him. The importer of the ore gets that. And does the carts, obviously, so that makes sense. The fishermen are all prisoner slaves from Germania. So there's all the fishermen live in these huts, and they're all slaves. And they may not even know that until they go and talk to them, or deal with them. One other thing I want to do is the actual villagers themselves, not even the slave part. So I'm going to roll their basic, which is only probably a handful of families, villagers. CL is going to be, and this is me determining their behavior. 8. Ready for Christ, Now, just because they're ready for Christ doesn't mean they understand, what's going on. The idols, they probably all have them as well. They all, and remember, in the vast majority of Christians in the Dark Ages and medieval, they had a saying. It's basically, why keep your eggs all in one basket? Saying when it came to religion, so they went to church, they worshiped Jesus, but then they would also give offerings at the local, evil spirit thing to protect their farm or whatever. So they would do that. Paganism has always permeated the culture. So it's not like, when people say Christendom, it's like, many bad things certainly still happened in the Christian land of the area. And I would contend, obviously, that was because of paganism. Just like here in America today. Where is all the evil perversity coming from? Is it coming from the church? No. It's coming from corrupted churches, but primarily it's coming from paganism. It's coming from sexual culture. The Democrats concerning like abortion, that is not Christian. So paganism is here in America is probably the most evangelical or Christian, on average or across the world. And yet paganism permeates here extensively, right? Same in Europe, same things going on there. Same sort of brutality and fear and slavery permeated the European culture, the Christendom in the Dark Ages and Middle Ages. But if we just look at today, we can just see where it's coming from. It's coming from paganism. Paganism is default slavery, is default. We're all little mini gods, and we can control other people and enslave them and sacrifice them for our agenda, whether it's abortion or whether it's this person died, so we need to get rid of guns. Whatever it is, they can use human sacrifice for their agenda, and they always do. Okay, so that's me showing you kind of how you can break down a village, and then me rambling and ranting, but how you can kind of break down like this little area that they go into, and what you'll do, what kind of characters you'll have, and how to role play them out. See, so that's kind of how you do it. You kind of figure out little charts and little areas. Sorry, my cough. It's cold too. It's so cold here in LA and Hollywood. It's 70 degrees or something. Oh, it's so cold. But I just wanted to, as a Christian RPG with evangelism and church planning, I'm just making videos to put on YouTube for there to be something to show you how to do a Christian game. And I know if you're using D&D or some other game system, that's fine. You can take this and use it that way if you want. That'd be, so you can. But you got to have evangelism and conversion type mechanics in it, and the church planning, mechanics and or just storyline. Okay, in the game of life, man. Roll holy dice. All right.